What's up, YouTube? This is your boy John from the Jersey Shore, and I'm back with you tonight to talk to you about Marcus Nispel's 2003 remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you're already a subscriber to my channel, welcome back. It's good to see you again. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click that subscribe button now and get that out of the way. 2003's Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake stars Jessica Biel, Jonathan Tucker, Arlie Ermey, and Andrew Bryniarski as Leatherface. This movie starts off innocent enough. You got the five main characters in the movie. They are heading to a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert. Before they went to the Lynyrd Skynyrd concert, they ran over to Mexico, and the women in the car were under the impression that they were simply going on vacation, primarily Jessica Biel's character. She finds out that they actually ran over to Mexico for the guys to buy 2 pounds of weed, and now they're driving to the Lynyrd Skynyrd concert with a piñata full of pot. But while they're on their way to the concert, they almost run over a hitchhiker who's walking in on the side of the road, sort of, out in the middle of the road. And she looks like she's completely out of it. She's walking very slow, head sort of down, not really paying attention to anything that's going around her. She obviously has been traumatized. So they managed to get this girl inside of the van. So now there's 6 people inside of the van. The hitchhiker is sitting dead center in the back seat of the van. Everyone's trying to talk to her. And then she realizes that the van is going in the direction from which she came and from which she obviously does not want to go back. She immediately starts crying, telling them that they're going the wrong way, that the bad man is there, and that she doesn't want to die. She pulls a gun out from between her legs, and through her tears, she says, "You're all going to die." And she puts the gun in her mouth and pulls the trigger. Brains blown all over the back seat, back window blown out, big bullet hole in the window, blood all over the place. They pull the van over. Everybody's got blood all over themselves. People are throwing up. People are yelling at each other that they actually stopped to pick up this hitchhiker, that they should have never done that in the first place. Everybody's pointing blame at one another. And you just got a really crappy situation going on here with a dead hitchhiker in the backseat of the van. So the secondary female character in the movie says that there's no way in the world that she's getting back in this van. Scene ends, next scene begins, and they're driving away in the van. She's definitely in the van. Everybody's in the van. Now they're out looking for help. These guys are in the middle of Texas, in the middle of nowhere in Texas. Nobody knows where they are. They have no idea where they are. They stop at the first place they come across. It's a little convenience store / restaurant. And there's some ugly old lady in there who doesn't seem like she wants to be very helpful to our cast here. They're asking her if they can use the phone. She chooses to use the phone. She calls the cops on their behalf, or whomever, she's trying to say that she called is supposed to be the cops. She makes the phone call. She talks to somebody on the other end, and that somebody on the other end is supposedly the sheriff. The sheriff tells her, "Have them meet me at the old mill. I'm on my way there now. I should be there in about 10 minutes. Tell them to come over there to file their report. Essentially drive the dead body over to me." So when they get to the old mill, there's nobody there. It's completely abandoned. They're sitting there by themselves, and they have to sit there and wait for the sheriff to show up. So some of our cast goes wandering off a little bit because the little boy tells them that there's a house out through the woods. Oh yeah, the little boy. They come across them when they get to the old mill. They find some little kid that's in this place. He looks like he's probably about 8, 9 years old. He's covered head to toe in dirt. He's just some filthy, buck-tooth, inbred-looking kid hanging out in the mill. He lets them know that there's a house just beyond the woods. So Jessica Biel's character and her boyfriend go wandering off towards this house, and they leave the other 3 behind to wait for the sheriff. So Jessica Biel's character and her boyfriend, I believe his name was Kemper in the movie, they find this house. They go up to the front door, knock on the door, and they just hear somebody yell inside. She's looking for the cops. He says, "Do I look like a cop?" She simply replies, "I don't know. I can't see you." He comes out, and he has no legs from the knees down. He's in a wheelchair. He tells Jessica Biel's character she's more than welcome to go in the house and use the phone, but the boy is to stay outside. So she goes in to use the phone. The boy stays outside. Eventually, he makes his way inside, and he is attacked by Leatherface. Leatherface pulls him into a room. Jessica Biel has no idea that that happened. She can't find him. She leaves the house, and she goes back to where they came from because the guy in the wheelchair says that he left. So now Leatherface has Jessica Biel's boyfriend Kemper all to himself because the old man says he left. Jessica Biel leaves the property, and now Leatherface has him. She heads back over to the old mill to meet up with the other three, and once she gets there and a little bit of time passes, the sheriff actually shows up. Once the sheriff shows up, he's not the kindest guy in the world. He treats everyone there very poorly, to put it mildly. He's actually pretty cruel to one of our cast members here. He has him reenact, basically. He isolates him into the back of the van and has this character, which is Jonathan Tucker, actually. Jonathan Tucker, you would know him. He was in the movie The Ruins. He's been in a few things. You may recognize him. He has him reenact what happened to the girl, or happened with the girl, the hitchhiker in the back of the van. He has him sit right where she sat, and he actually has him put the gun in his mouth as well. So in a state of panic, he turns the gun on the sheriff, which is a very bad idea because there are no bullets in this gun. The sheriff reacts in a very negative way, as you would assume he would. He takes this character to his police car, and he takes him back to the house where Jessica Biel's character was. He leaves Jessica Biel's character and the other character. God, I got people yelling upstairs. He leaves Jessica Biel's character and the other girl back at the van. And, oh yeah, there was another guy. There was the other guy. He's already been attacked by Leatherface as well. He got one of his legs cut off, and Leatherface has him chained up down in the basement. Anyway, the two girls are left at the van. The sheriff now has the other guy in his truck, or in his car. He's taking him back to the house. Kemper's already been caught by Leatherface. He's back at the house. So the girls are now alone. As one would assume, Leatherface, chainsaw in hand, shows up at this van where these two girls are. He starts jamming his chainsaw through the roof of the van, and eventually he cuts a hole in it, reaches through and grabs a hold of Jessica Biel's character. The other character jumps out of the van, so he lets go of Jessica Biel. He jumps off the van. He gets the other girl down on the ground and cuts her all up. At this point, Jessica Biel runs away. So she finds a trailer somewhere off in the woods. She's by herself. She knocks on this trailer door. They let her in. Inside of this trailer is two more beat-up, dirty, redneck-looking inbreds. They have a baby in there with them, and they're sitting in this house. She's trying to use their phone. They tell her she doesn't have a phone, or that they don't have a phone. They wind up convincing her, or basically force-feeding her, a cup of tea. Jessica Biel doesn't want to drink this tea. She does drink the tea. She drinks a little bit of the tea. And as it turns out, as you probably could assume, the tea is drugged. She passes out. She wakes up. Now she's back at the house where Kemper and the other guy are. She's at the house. She's laying on the floor. The police chief is there with no pants on, and he's pouring beer in her face. Leatherface then walks in the room. She sees him. She flips out. He grabs her and throws her down in basement steps and shuts the door. While she's down there, she comes across the third guy. Not the guy that was taken in the police car. Not the guy that her boyfriend Kemper. The third guy that was with him. And he's like in a crucifix position. And one of his legs is cut off. And he's got like a meat hook through his back. And he's hanging there. He's bleeding out, but he is still alive. She's trying to get him off of the meat hook. He's saying that he can't get off the meat hook. And he asks her to kill him. So she abides. She picks up a knife. She kills that guy. So now her boyfriend is dead. This guy is dead. Girl B is dead. And the last character, she finds him sitting in a bathtub full of water down in the basement. She pulls him out of the bathtub. They manage to get their way out of this room. Leatherface is chasing them. They come across this little beat-up house. They run in the house. Unfortunately for them, the house has bars on all of the windows. So they put a chair in front of the door like that's going to keep Leatherface out. And he comes through the door. She hides in a little closet. He hides in another closet. Leatherface is just about ready to get Jessica Biel. And Dude comes out of the closet. Leatherface grabs a hold of him, hangs him by his hands, which are shackled, hangs him on a meat hook, goes between his legs with his chainsaw and kills him. Jessica Biel runs out of this joint. So Jessica Biel's character runs into a meat packing plant. She's running through the woods. She comes across this meat packing plant. She goes in there. Obviously, Leatherface follows her in there. She eventually makes her way into a locker and hides. And while he's walking down the hallway trying to find her, he opens a door opposite of where she actually is. And there's a bunch of rats in there. She opens the other door. That's not rats. I think it's actually a pig. She opens the door behind him, jumps out with a big-ass knife in her hand, and chops his arm off. The arm that was holding the chainsaw has now fallen on the floor. He's bleeding all over the place, and the chainsaw is spinning in a circle with his hand still holding it. She runs out of there. She runs out into the street. She gets picked up by a truck driver. She gets in the car, and then she, just like the earlier hitchhiker, starts telling the guy that he's going the wrong way. She's grabbing the wheel. She's trying to make him turn around. He comes up to this convenience store. She flips out even more. He stops the truck. He gets out. He goes up to the front door. While he's at the front door talking to them, inside of this convenience store, by the way, is the police chief, or the sheriff, I should say, the woman who was in the convenience store in the beginning, the dirty redneck women that were in the trailer earlier, and a baby that they stole, who actually, the baby belonged to the hitchhiker that blew her brains out at the beginning of the movie. Jessica Biel runs around the back of this little convenience store, and while everybody's paying attention to the truck driver and the truck out front, she comes in the back door and steals that baby because she saw pictures and she knows that that's not their baby, that baby is stolen. So they go back inside after they're done dealing with what's going on out front, and she recognizes one of the inbred rednecks from the trailer, realizes that the baby has been taken. He's gone. So, cut scene, you see the sheriff out front, and he goes around to the driver's side door of the Mack truck, and the whole time he's walking around, you see Jessica Biel trying to hotwire a car. He pulls open the door, and she is not in the truck. She is actually in the sheriff's car. He turns around. She runs him over. She backs over him again. She runs over him again and keeps driving. As she's driving down the street, you see her look over. She does have the baby, and as she's moving forward, Leatherface is in the street with his chainsaw in the one arm he's got left. He swings the chainsaw, hits the car, she drives away, end of the movie. So that's how the story portion of the movie ends. But one thing that you do see is they show some old black and white footage of police going into the house where Leatherface and his family lived. The cops go down in the basement, and all of a sudden one of them is attacked, and they say that this is the last known picture of Leatherface. I can't remember I can't remember what his actual name was. Hoyt was his last name, and they show a still picture of Leatherface in black and white. It's actually pretty cool. You know what? Now I don't think it was Hoyt. I think it was Hewitt. I'm pretty sure that the Leatherface's last name was Hewitt. I thought Marcus Nispel did a really good job with this movie. I have been a pretty big fan of most of the remakes that have been made, some more than others, and this is one of the ones that I was more of a fan of this than others. I thought it didn't follow the script exactly from the original movie, but it definitely put a more modern spin on it. It stayed with the spirit of that movie. I thought that was really cool. I thought he did a really good job. This movie actually spawned another movie that was a prequel to this called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. And then there was another one a couple of years ago called Texas Chainsaw 3D. That movie kind of sucked. But as far as this remake goes, I thought that this was really, really well made. I thought the acting in this movie was outstanding. Throughout, I thought everybody did a really good job in this. R. Lee Ermey was the same R. Lee Ermey in just about every role that you've ever seen him in. He was very aggressive. He was very vocal. He had that Full Metal Jacket attitude that he had, the movie that, that introduced him to the world. That is exactly, he seemed like a drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket in the outfit and character of a sheriff in Texas. And most importantly, I thought that Andrew Bryniarski's character, or Andrew Bryniarski's job as Leatherface, was top notch. I think that he did he did right by Gunnar Hansen, and as he was the original Leatherface. I think that he did a very good job as this character. He's a big hulking dude. If you haven't seen him in other movies, he was in The Program. He played a character named Latimer. The guy is a gigantic dude. Perfect casting. He did a perfect job. Granted, he doesn't speak, but, you know, which may even make it harder to convince somebody without speaking, non-verbally. Excellent movie. I thought everything about it was really, really good. If you haven't seen this movie, I strongly suggest it. I highly recommend that you watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. That one was for you, Joe. As always, thank you for the comments, and sincerely thank you for the suggestion. All right, folks, that's going to do it for my review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really liked the video, subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to go on this journey with me. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, have a kick-ass day, and thank you for watching.